Hi, I'm Sienna and this is Cascade Economics. So you want to be happy? Here you checklist. Get a job where you make about $82,000 per year. Do not get fired from this job. Make sure your commute is not more than 22 minutes. So please, you gotta stop looking at your friend's Facebook profile.
In the USA, the pursuit of happiness is one of our inalienable rights, written into the Declaration of Independence Rights, along with the biggie, life, and liberty. The self-help industry is worth billions of dollars. I mean, some of us hire life coaches. And for that, happiness is seen pretty elusive economic thought over the last couple of centuries is built on model that say we all have unlimited inexhaustible desire more equal better. An economic belief they could what make us better off by looking at how we spend our money and time. But in the recent years, those assumptions are being called into question. Economic and psychologists have discovered a disconnect between how we buy, spend, and do and what actually makes us feel better off. They realize that sometimes getting paid nothing for doing something can make us feel happier than getting paid. Like I cook a friend dinner for the birthday, and after finish the last bite of birthday cake he offered for me, or of shadow my gesture of kindness, my from fuzzy feeling. They disappear economics have discovered a correlation between greater income and greater happiness across culture, but in some places affect are greater than others. But they also found that more money had diminishing return when it comes to our day-to-day happiness. Let's go to the top above. Say Stan and I are both successful bakers, then the combination of my impressive baking skill and some luck. I became a star baker. I make $500,000 a year in cupcake sales and breaking pan in the segment. On the other hand, Stan is a masterful but not famous baker. He makes $50,000 a year selling cupcakes out of his modest bakery. Then I enter a cupcake contest. I win $10,000 in the cake category. Stan win $10,000 for his icing and decoration, but that money is going to have very different effect on our life and our feeling of happiness. For Stan, $10,000 represent a significant portion of his income. That $10,000 may make him feel a whole lot more relaxed and better off. For me, an extra $10,000 is not at all, but it's not going to change much about how I live in my life or what I do in my time. $10 is cool beyond some level of income. The value of addition dollar had diminishing return in terms of our day-to-day well-being. A 2010 study found in the US it was about $75,000 a year, or about $82,000. When you adjust for inflation, after that, the researcher discovered a person's day-to-day happy levels just don't change that much. But the same researcher also looked at another form of happiness, asking people how satisfied people were with their place in the world, and their money mattered. The study found that there is difference between the wealthy and super duper extremely wealthy when it comes overall satisfaction with their life. Thanks to Bubble, so we know that some people have a natural predisposition to be a happiness, and Some people seem more inclined to constant joy. Those people are annoying for a long time. Psychologists believe that people have a set point for happiness, and the most big change, positive and negative, had only a temporary effect on happiness. But more recent studies show that economic choice and circumstance can have lasting effect on just how happy we are. For one, there is a pretty clear relationship between unemployment and happiness. Basically, being out of work can make people out and out miserable. By some estimate, unemployment people have studies have found that the negative effects of unemployment are greater in high-income countries. There are also research showing that the happiness is middle-aged people is more negative affected by unemployment than other people. You might be thinking the people without a job are not making any money, so of course they be less happy. But economists have found that the well-being due to unemployment is greater than can explained by immediate loss of a paycheck. One explanation is that unemployment makes people worry not just about paying the bill today, but also the future. Economists have also found that moving from the part-time job to full-time job making people happier, but the correlation between our work and happiness doesn't continue. At some point, when you're working on a time, happiness level start declining. Imagine it like up-down U-shape, high of life. I'm working on the time and never get to see face sad face.
Long work commute make people less happy. Credit card debt make people less happy. And inflation, it turned out, especially unpredictable inflation, can make people less happy. We like stability and for our saving to hold their value. It's not just the up and down of what you can afford that affect your happiness. It also what the neighbor can afford. There's something called the reference income hypothesis or rank income hypothesis. It says that the satisfaction I get from my income and consumption level depend on how I'm doing compared to everyone else around me. So, if the wealthy start bigger version of myself life around millionaire, I might be less happy than if I live in a middle-class neighborhood, even if I'm making the same income. At 2009, studies found this is true to an extent. Research found out Americans were happier when they lived in rich neighborhoods in poor countries. The author wrote in appeal that individuals in fact are happier when they live among the poor as long as the poor do not live too close. This idea that status matters, maybe more than absolute income, brings us around to something known as the Easterlin paradox. It's named after an economist named Richard Easterlin, who back in the 20s found that as the income level in a country rise, the average level of happiness in a those country doesn't always follow. This happens even though we also know there is, at some level, a positive relationship between income and happiness. So, what's going on? One explanation is that we derive happiness from status rather than absolute income. So, when an inter-country gets richer, even if our income goes up, our status and relative income stay about the same, and we don't get any happier. Another explanation gets back to the set point of happiness we talked about before. Some economists talk about the hedonic treadmill or hedonic adaptation, here result describing the phenomenon. Since this convenient buy has almost entered Greece to be enjoyable and at the same time degenerate into true needs, it became more cool to be deprived of them than to possess them was sweet, and men were unhappy to lose them without being happy to possess them. I can remember the joy I felt when I got my first smartphone. Now I adapted to the point that my phone is kind of annoying, but if somebody took it away, I might cry. There are thus explanation out there regarding the easterly paradox, and it's not actually a paradox as obscurity that is that whole. There has been some research that shows the paradox is only true for relatively wealthy countries, where the basic needs of citizens are already being met. In lower GDP countries, the students find there are overall increase in happiness when income rises. More recently, economic Beatty Stevenson and Justin Wolford argue that average level of happiness lies in countries where income rise, regardless of how wealthy that country is. The data they say point to a clear relationship between GDP per capita and average level well-being. All of these happiness research matter when you think about how government measure progress and describe what the right path is a country. For a long time, economic growth has been at the heart of economic policy. It expands some of global fixation on GDP number. But if you believe that an increase in income and stuff is going to make people happier and better off, income growth may not be the best way to mark or judge the progress of a society. A focus on GDP and growth may hide and even exhibit each shoreline income inequality and environmental damage related to increased consumption. In the 1970s, the king of the tiny of country Bhutan proclaimed that Scott's national happiness is more important than Scott's national product. Instead of measuring economic progress using GNP or GDP, the government taxed GNH, which considers the social, physical, spiritual, and environmental health of its citizens, and it's not just Bhutan. In 2011, the United Nations adopted a resolution that called for member states to give greater weight to happiness and well-being when figuring out how to pursue socio-economic.
But this focus on happiness in addition to economic growth isn't a totally new idea. All the way back in 1968, U.S. presidential candidate Robert Kennedy got up in front of an audience at University of Kansas and criticized the focus on economic output alone. Our gross national product now is over $800 billion a year, but that gross national product if we just the United States of America. By that gross national product count air pollution and cigarette advertising and ambulance to clear our highway of carnage. He goes on, it measures neither our wit nor our courage, neither our wisdom nor our learning, neither our compassion nor devotion to our country. It measures everything in short, except that which makes life worthwhile. Well, I don't think we can write a better ending to the show or to the series than that. Thank you for watching.
It's been such a pleasure. Thanks for watching Cat Economic. which is made with the help of all these nice people who work the show because it makes them happy. You can help keep Cathcart free for everyone forever by supporting the show Patreon. Patreon is voluntary subscription service where you can support the show with a monthly contribution. Thank you for watching.